Your future spouse deserves the preservation of your body. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people my age, some older, some younger, who have told me repetitively after experiencing sex for the first time, they wish they would have waited. And if that was like the biggest alarm that went off in my mind, because I used to think the whole time, like, bro, y'all having a ball. Y'all kicking it. I know I can't really partake, and that's cool. I know one day mine is coming, but y'all killing it. Y'all doing the thing. And to hear those people come back and say, man, I wish I would have waited, was just like, oh my goodness, thank you for saying that. Because this whole time I thought I was behind. This whole time I thought I was like the weak link. This whole time I thought I wasn't it. I just got more scripture for y'all, like, to just prove this whole idea of like the legitimacy of, wanting to tell your spouse that your body belongs to them. Look at 1 Corinthians 7. Paul just continues on into this understanding of he's addressing the sexual immorality that Corinth is carrying, right? Just in complete context. And this is what he says in verse 3: the husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. They give authority over their bodies to each other. So I do believe that it is a very appropriate statement to make when I say I want to tell my wife my body belongs to her. And we get to serve one another in such a way that I could not do on a one night stand. Because there's a difference between intensity and intimacy. And this is hopefully maybe one of the last things I tell you, because I really want you to get this, because intensity is all about being rushed. You have a 3-hour window between the time y'all met, or maybe a 2-week window if we really want to consider everything. Maybe it's a 1-day window. I don't know how fast you really move on dating apps and all those kinds of things. But bro, you meet, you have some conversation, y'all connect, y'all find each other attractive. And in a 3-hour window between the movie, the dinner, and then the ice cream little date that y'all have, y'all walking around, y'all a little tipsy, whatever the case was, and then y'all come together at the end of the night. The end of the night is the nightcap, right? And the whole date was just the trial to see if we even got that far. And so what's crazy is we tried to rush so much context to who we are as individuals. We tried to rush so much of what makes us who we are and how we arrive to where we are in such a fast period of time that we tried to cap off with a sexual experience, trying to please each other in the best way possible. And can I tell you a lot of the reasons why y'all has trash sex? Let Big Bro help you. A lot of the reasons why y'all having trash sex out here is because y'all trying to do this so fast, and you connecting with somebody who doesn't even know your body well enough to please you the way you want to be pleased. And so you leave empty handed, and now that's another body added to your score count. And you got the nerve to tell everybody that men are trash and women are trash, when in reality, your standards are trash. I'm sorry. That kind of came off a little crude, didn't it? But I'm just being honest. Like, the bar is in hell, y'all. It really is. And I think we have an obligation and an opportunity to really reset the standards, reset the stuff that we're really caring about, and make these Negroes wait. I bet you wait his behind out. I bet you'll find out what he really about. I'm on your side, sis. I'm not coming after you. I'm on your side. I'm on your side, big bruh. She better wait. She better wait. I'm telling you, bro, like, you're too valuable to just give that away. And I just think for me personally, it's just going to become such a great joy to be standing in front of my wife at the altar and just in the midst of my vows, being able to tell her that my body belongs to you. And that we're able to build off of this thing, because oftentimes in this culture that we're surrounded by, we treat sex like it's ice cream samples. You go to Baskin Robbins and you get your ice cream samples. You go to Sam's Club, whatever grocery store that's near you that sells samples, and you get a sample of the product to see if you really want to take it, if you really want to go buy it, you really want to go down that aisle and make that purchase. We treat sex that way. And I'm going to just be so honest. If somebody needs a sample size of you in order to determine what they want to do with you, in order to determine the next date with you, they don't need you. You don't want them. Leave. You got my permission. Boom. There it is. Leave. Skedaddle. Out of there. Boom. Zoom. Gone. Get out of there. Because that's not worth your time. And you just got so much more value to your life than to be limited to how you perform in bed. In a legitimate marriage that is supposed to be a lifelong relationship, this is a space where I'm able to come in. And again, just from my story and my experience, and I'm really grateful and I'm not ashamed to share, I get to come in without any additional expectations on my future wife. I get to come in and not have to compare her to another experience and try to, quote unquote, bring her up to this experience, causing her to step out of who she really is. That then leaves the space inauthentic, because it's a weight that just crushes her and it's something that she can't carry. Like I really am so excited about that. I'm really glad that I was able to do that. Maybe you don't share that same excitement. You're still struggling and wrestling with this, but I just choose to believe that there's so much more value today. There's always been value to it, but especially in this society and culture we're in today, there's just so much value to waiting. So much value to who you are and how God has designed you, and that not everybody is supposed to have access to you. And maybe you're coming to the end of this and you're like, yo, I've just made so many compromises and I just feel like, wow, like I've just missed a lot and it's too late for me. I want you to be encouraged that God redeems the time. God restores what was lost. God is a redeemer, and it's not too late for you. You know who's a great example of this? And this might be an extreme, but I want you to see how much of a restorer God really is. When you travel into the Old Testament, there is an individual by the name of Rahab. Oh my goodness, Rahab, who is known in the city of Jericho as a harlot, aka a hoe. Ho ho, she's a hoe. Like, yeah, this is Rahab all day. Right. But it was her hearing what God was doing through Israel. When the spies came in, they stay at her home. She's like, yo, these people got so much fear in their hearts from hearing what God has done through you and that his judgment is on the way. And she says, I don't know about them. Just paraphrasing. I don't know about them. I ain't want no smoke. I want to follow the God of Israel. And she makes a deal. Say, you know, just to give you context, like, hey, yeah, just hang a scarlet thread out the window. When we come and raid the city and deal with the city, we will make sure to save you and your family, those who are in the home. Stay in the home till we come get you, right? And boom, 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 that happens. Okay, in the course of it. But you know what's so beautiful about this whole story? We don't have, she drops into this context. She plays a role of keeping these spies protected and safe from the guards of the city of Jericho who were looking for the men who they heard were in town and possibly were looking to destroy. She hides them. But here's what's beautiful about her entire story. Two things. One is she ends up getting married to an Israelite when she's welcomed into the community of Israel. This is so beautiful. Rahab got married. The same hoe we was just talking about got married. And I just want to put some more context to you from a biblical perspective. The whole cleanup, the genital shaving, the genital care, all that kind of stuff. Man, they didn't have access to that stuff. Fam, this was raw. All the way raw. I just want you to get it. She shaved, not a chance, right? Washing regularly, not a chance. They didn't even have access to water as much as often as we do in a first world country, speaking from an American perspective. Like, so think about this. All the things that we would look at today and say that's such a huge disadvantage for us. God does an amazing thing through Rahab and restores and redeems her. And I'm just using this as an example, not just one that she gets married, right? As a harlot who ends up getting married to an Israelite man. Oh my goodness. What a story of redemption. But here's the second part, which is also really dope. She's a part of the lineage of Jesus. She's actually included in the lineage of the coming Christ. So Jesus isn't afraid of associating with her either, even though she has a crazy raunchy past. So I'm just saying, man, like, I think there's so much value to who you are that, yes, you may have had a crazy past, but God still redeems. And even though there are so many people on social media that are trying to devalue you and defame you into telling you and convincing you that you bring no value to a relationship because you got kids and you aren't married, that you bring no value to the relationship because you've been married and divorced, that you bring no value to the relationship because your body count is through the roof, that you bring no value to the relationship because of all this X, Y, Z.
Women at 30 are way better than 20. You don't think so?
To who? If a guy puts a 30-year-old next to a 20-year-old, why would he pick the 30 over the 20? Like, no matter what. I don't give a shit that. We look for youth, beauty, and not being a hoe. And, and fortunately, younger women tend to have these things.
There were people who sold horses and buggies. But when the automobile came along, you could have made the best horse and buggy and the best horsewhip. You could be as positive as you want. When the market died, you were out of business.
I gave you a shot at saying what you have to offer to men, and you said nothing that we value.
Here's how it should work. I'm a man, I give a girl my attention, and she gives me sex. I won't date a girl who's older than 25. The younger a girl is, the less bull she's been through with men, and the softer she is as a person. Women don't respect men with no hose.
And all the things you carried, I'm just here to tell you, man, that yes, we have to acknowledge that past and no, we can't move with the attitude of God accepts me, so you should. What we should do, however, is be so appreciative of the redemptive work of Christ on the cross and know that it even reaches to us, not just from a spiritual place, but also to redeem us emotionally, mentally, physically. Like God desires to redeem all of you, not just a part of you, and him going to the cross. But what's so beautiful about this is it doesn't leave you out of reach of experiencing those things that you felt you could never get due to your past. Your past doesn't disqualify you from those things. And maybe God has marriage in sight for you. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Regardless, choose to stay with him. Choose to stay with him. Like, because this is where the life is, right? This is where the life is. And so my encouragement to you, with all of that being said, is that it's not too late for you to make different decisions moving forward. Yes, you made those decisions and you compromised. You had boyfriends and girlfriends in the past who you experienced sexual relationships with. And man, it's actually been even a tougher time getting over them, because not only did you experience them and invest in them emotionally and mentally, but then we added the physical component too. So the whole separation factor takes a little bit longer to grieve through, because you're not just grieving what you dealt with them emotionally and mentally, you're grieving what you experienced them sexually as well. And so absolutely, that stuff does have a little bit of a longer effect. Doesn't mean it makes it easier, but it does have a longer effect. Maybe you've been there. You're not alone. You're not the only person to deal with that. My encouragement to you is that now you have an opportunity to do something different. Take it from me, who has not experienced sexual encounters with somebody else or anybody else physically, even though it was something I was once ashamed of before and so guilty of due to cultural expectations. I'm so glad that I was able to connect to the one who designed it, that led me to understand the value that I hold, the value of waiting, the value of preserving my body, and the value of humans and people and pleasure in its proper context to the way he describes it. And I don't regret being a virgin all this time. And I know I won't regret it when I get married. I'm not even tripping about the whole fact that the first time we have sex, it might not be as great as maybe it's expected, because we got a whole life to build on this. What are we tripping for? We get to learn each other's bodies and dive even deeper into it. Who's hating on that? With amazing communication skills that are built on that? Bro, come on. Who's hating on that? The only people who are actually hating on that are people who are just operating in their own dysfunctional wounds and haven't really dealt with them. And so maybe you're at the pinnacle place of trying to choose, man, should I wait? Should I preserve? Man, maybe this red pill space should actually be something I should dive into, because this heartbreaking wound is just too much for me, man. So I just would rather sex it out. And I just think, man, what do you get at the end of that though? Yeah, you get some pleasure and it goes away for maybe about however long you're having sex, 5-10 minutes, give or take. Right? Like, you experiencing that, and then what? You gonna come home and the feeling is gonna come back up. And every time you get into somebody else's bed and drawers, it's going to keep coming back up right after you experience that, which tells us that the sex isn't the solvent. It's not the solution. What is the solution is, instead of disassociating ourselves from our emotions, we actually learn to ground ourselves in our emotions, be present in those things, and get into a community of a safe space that allows us to do those things and process through it. Because we just need men to start moving, and we just need people, men and women, to just start operating in spaces of being healed and wanting to be healed and sitting down somewhere to do the healing. I am not on the team of you being able to hook up with anybody as a means of healing. I am not on the team of you in your healing era, but really you're just in your sex era and your whole era. I'm not on the team of supporting you going out here and going on dates and you are emotionally distraught and almost destroyed. Don't do that. Take some time to yourself. Get into some community with some trusted people who can help you process through these things. Because that's what we need. It's an opportunity, because these things just really speak to some deeper wounds than we realize. And we got to give ourselves time to deal with that stuff, because it takes time. It takes time, and we don't want to pervert something God desired to be so beautiful between two people making a covenant with each other and him. We don't want to get in the process of perverting that because we don't want to feel our wounds. And I don't want that for you either. So that's why I got a whole community dedicated just to a safe space for healed men. If that's something that you want, that's something you're interested in, and you know you can resonate with this kind of conversation and need more of it, definitely get into the description below. It's free, able to join, and you know, obviously with so many different accountability spaces, challenges, things of that sort that we just keep up with in the whole community. I'm excited to connect with you there because there's just so many more conversations where this comes from that allows us to really process those emotions healthily, so that way we can actually start creating healthier relationships with people. Learn how to be friends with attractive people. Learn how to let go of the fantasies that we carry that have kept us from actually having legitimate relationships and have made them turn into transactional relationships. I'm talking us being able to be so healed and restored from these things that we don't find ourselves looking at people as objects, but we see them in the image and likeness that God designed them in, reflecting him, an image bearer, like getting into the place where we can actually address that some of the rooted issues that we have isn't because we are terrible at relationships and we're just god awful. It's actually because of our attachment wounds, our attachment styles. It's actually because we have yet to actually address the very first breakup that we went through. And so that just kind of kept us bleeding on people and bleeding on people and bleeding on people and never really addressing the wound, addressing perspectives that we've carried for so long that came from people who also were broken and unhealed. But because they had some level of authority over our lives, we just kind of went with it. Nah, fam, it's time that we just move in a different direction, and we start living differently and living a transformed life. What's happening, fam? Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you want to watch the full replay of this entire conversation, I'm sure it's popped up somewhere on this screen, so be sure to click that. But also, if you guys are interested in joining a free safe space for men community designed to help you heal and get your life back on track in 4 dimensions of faith, relationships, energy, and economics, click the link in the description below and be sure to sign up and join in this community so we can connect and get back on track to getting you back. Be easy.